Love amongst all things seems to be the most difficult to understand. Love is a long, twisty-turny road with abundant blind spots and surprises around every corner. Growing up with endless love from my parents, while they themselves did not love each other, puts the idea of love into perspective. Everyone can love, but not everyone can love endlessly. When being under the age of 9 years old, everything seemed to just fall in place. The idea of responsibility at that age is unreal, allowing for many mistakes and slim to none punishment. Growing up, I had my older sister looking out for me. So, me being the immature elementary school child I was, I failed to understand most situations, even if they were staring me straight in the face. So here I am now, 17 years old, and looking back on it all, it seems to make sense now, as if my past is a puzzle and the pieces are slowly but surely finding where they belong. I think I now understand why my parents had such a hard time getting along. The clarity of knowing the truth is glorious. After being married for 19 years, my parents' marriage ended with an abrupt but relieving finish. The thought of not having to worry about what time my mom would get home and whether the house was picked up was nice. Never again would I ever have to listen to my parents fight while I was supposed to be sleeping. To my surprise, I soon found out that all my worries were far from gone. Slowly but surely, I saw my dad begin to fade away. I soon understood my dad's situation, realizing that he'd take the fighting and everything else that came with his now lost marriage over being alone. Why would someone want to put themselves through a marriage that was not only rough on the edges, but ruined internally? How could my dad still love someone who in the end just did not like who he was? How come love has such a hook on people? My dad and I have a relationship like no other. It's as if we share the same heart, each of us walking to the same beat, picking each other up after every fall. I may never love someone as much as my dad. I think I'm okay with it too. Waking up every morning to the smell of burned bacon will be something I will never want to live without. I don't even like bacon, let alone burned bacon, but somehow every morning I end up eating it. I ask my dad to help me carry my bag, lunchbox, and cup of tea to the car every morning, even though I could easily manage it on my own. I think I do it because it gives my dad a sense of security, because once I shift my car into reverse and begin to make my way down the driveway, my dad can't help me anymore. I always look at my rearview mirror as I slowly accelerate down the road, knowing that my dad is standing in the middle of the road, in front of our house, with his legs awkwardly spread wider than shoulder length, watching me, making sure I make it to the end of the road, as if that's the furthest I had to drive. I catch myself saying and doing things based on my dad most of the time, which I don't mind. When it comes to spending time with my dad, we always seem to eat way too much. The thing is, I love food and my dad, so the combination is kind of epic. When it comes to my dad, he tends to let me make my own decision, even if he knows it's wrong, which at times is frustrating, but in the end, I learn firsthand from all my mistakes. I've screwed up, and my dad has always stood by me and pushed me along. I like to think I do the same for him, but I tend to be more of an open book, while he hides most of his problems behind his beer gut, where only certain foods can scratch his itch. My home is another thing that my dad and I share. We live in this huge house with just each other. At times, it bothers me. It makes me wonder how such a big house that was so full of life one day is empty and forgotten the next. Even though my parents now live in separate houses, I think this is the closest I've ever seen them. The moments they spend together aren't forced and are spent well. Celebrations like birthdays and holidays allow for time spent to be spent not thinking about their failed relationship, but their success and their 2 kids. That through all the doors slammed and the endless fights emerged 2 dark-haired girls who actually love a lot better than they do. I'm now 17 years old, and I think I've got a lot going for me. But at the end of every day, while I'm lying in my bed waiting for my dreams to take me under, I wonder what it would have been like if my parents met at a different time. Time seems to be the root of all evil, while also looking out for everyone. Because while shit happens, time is the one thing that doesn't get affected by it. Through people falling asleep at the wheel and taking their life, to burning your toast in the morning, time will continue to tick-tock along, and the sun will come up the next day. Some people love more and have their heart broken, but there's always tomorrow to do it all over again. Love is epic, but at times is unforgiving, but that never seems to stop anyone. My dad may never love someone as much as he loves me, which scares me, but I think we'll be just fine at the end of every day.
Cause I wanted to know